Hey, this is Mark again. Finally back after a while. My normal job is slowed down so I can get back to doing some more videos and stuff on these four-wheelers. And some side-by-sides coming up. So what I got here is a 400 Rancher AT. Kid's having a hard time. It's grinding when you put it in drive. Now it won't go in drive. So I thought it was a simple cable adjustment. There's a cable adjustment for the stick shift, and it wasn't that. So I took that off, checked the cable, cable's good, mechanism's good. So I took it off. So there must be another problem. So I'm thinking the problem being is it's in here where the shift fork is. This is the shift fork that puts it in neutral, drive, and reverse. And the cable comes along here and attaches to this right here and turns this and moves the shift fork in and out. So we're gonna have to dig into this. So what I'll do is I took the cable and the mechanism off so it's out of my way. I pulled the swing arm off. It's just a lot easier to get in here with all these little screws and everything. The swing arm is sitting over there in the tires. So let me get started on this. I'll get it loosened up and I'll show you what's going to go on in there and see if we can find something that's wrong inside. Okay, did some preliminary work. I took the air box out here, make it easier. Take these two screws out, disconnect the wire from the starter. I did that already. Two plugs underneath here, and up in here is your neutral and for your lights. So after I took these two screws out from my starter, I just pull my starter out. And I got to get in here and take the pull start off. So take the 3 bolts. There's 3 bolts around here. Just take that, and that comes off. Next thing you do is take this bolt. I hit it with an impact quick. Comes right off. Unscrew that. And that comes out. Next thing you know, you pull the mechanism for the pull start. It just comes right out. Now the other thing about this is when you're putting it back in, you can see the splines around here. There's one really flat wide one right there. It's different than the others. It only goes in one way. So make sure you look for the big flat spot in here on the groove and here, and when you're putting it back. So next, come over here. There's a little mechanism in here with the spring, which is like the selector guide for your reverse. You just unscrew the cap. There's a spring. Don't lose it. Try not to get it too dirty. And you take that out. Next thing you do is here is the mechanism and the fork where the shift fork is. So you take these 3 bolts out, which I've already done. You pull the back piece off. And that comes off. And inside you can see what moves the shift fork. There's a little mechanism inside that hooks on 2 tabs on the shift fork. And this is your shift fork right here. It seems like I have a lot of play, so we're going to find out why this isn't shifting. I already loosened the 15 or 16 bolts that go all the way around. So now I just have to tap the cover off. Make sure you drain the oil first. Forgot to tell you that part. And just give it a couple little whacks with a rubber mallet, plastic mallet. think we got it loose. Drop the bolt. And you got to be careful when you're doing these bolts. A lot of them are different sizes, shape, lengths. What I did is I just loosened them. I'll show you a little trick when I'm done here. What I did to figure keep track of my screws. So now let's see if we can wiggle this thing off here. Let it drain a little bit. Push the screws back in. Try to keep them in their place that they go. Let's see if we can get this off the rest of the way. Okay. Well, unfortunately, half the transmission came with it, so we're going to have to be careful. Gear set floating around inside there that I don't want to drop. I just have to kind of wiggle this out of here. Be careful not to damage anything on the other side. Kind of remember how you're taking it apart and how you wiggle that out. Back right in the same way. Put the drive shaft back in. Starter gear. Be careful with your washers. Like here's a gear and some thrust washers and stuff. Careful to where they go. Okay, from there. This one came from there. Just like that. So, we get a little cleaned up here and parts, and we'll take a look at the rest that's in the case here and find out why it's not shifted. Alright, here we go. Well, this is the transmission. I'll pull it out of the case cover over there. Oh, since I'm over here, I'll tell you my little trick about the screws where they go. Usually go on a Rocky Mountain or anybody that shows you parts things. And I print one of these out for my bike. And it tells me each size of all the screws. And in this one, there's 3 different ones here that are different size. Most of them are all the same length. So I make a little note to myself how long and where they go, and I can put them right back. It's real easy. Sometimes I use them things, I tape them to the side of the four-wheeler. So it's a little reminder and how it went back together. If I have to wait a week for parts, I can come back and not have to worry about going through my memory. So back to the problem. I pulled the transmission out. Here is the shift fork. And what happens here is the shift fork moves this forward and engages this gear, engages to this gear. and it goes forward. We put it halfway back. This gear is not touching this gear or this gear, so now it's in neutral. And when you want to put it in reverse, the cable slides the shift fork back, which slides this gear back into this gear, and now you're in reverse. So what happened with this one is, there must have been a lack of something, because inside here, as you can see, it's all nice and shiny on the outside of these inside teeth. It's the bearing. I'll take the shift fork off. Either the shift fork might be slightly bent. I'll take this side off. And as you can see, let me just wipe it off here. As you can see how it's all shined and kind of rounded off here. On that here. See, unlike the other side where it's hard to tell by the camera, but you can tell where it's nicely cut and chamfered. And this side's kind of just rounded out and gouged. It's hard to tell. But what happens is, when it engages drive, it can't interlock with the other components. So there's my grinding noise. So what I'm going to have to do is order a new transmission and shift fork for it, because if this was bad or if this is bent, there may be some things wrong in here. I noticed on this one there's a little bit of scoring. Might have been a heat issue. Maybe he didn't have his oil level properly. But as you can see, here's the reverse gear. So if I take that and put it in there, see, it doesn't slide either way. It locks right in. If he's being bent, it just doesn't lock, and it grinds away. So I'll order a new transmission. We'll pop it in. Putting it back together is pretty much the reverse way of I just took it apart. Till next time, this is Mark. See ya.